Okay, so today I'm going to do a video just demonstrating to you how I clean cards, as I've had a lot of questions about it. The first key thing I do is I make sure I've got some of these items available, so I use these makeup wipes. Pretty much these are just the sort of thing you get from Coles or chemists, so they're pretty important. Also buy these glasses lens wipes in bulk from eBay. It doesn't cost a lot, probably about $10. You get about 100 of them, so it works out pretty cheap. And they're great because they're soft, they're lint free, and they're designed for glasses, so they're not really going to be scratching cards if they're designed to be used on glasses. One of the other things I have is this lens cleaner for glasses as well. The key thing I find with these to get is make sure you get ones that are alcohol free, just because you don't want any alcohol on your cards because it could damage the surface. So first thing I do when I get the cards and I'm cleaning them, just take them out of the top loader and sleeve. You're not going to use them again because you want to put them back into a clean top loader and sleeve. And then I always give the card a good look over, so just starting with the front. So the big thing here is, you can see there I've got a direct light on it, so I can actually see what's happening with the card on the surface. Just turn the exposure down a bit so we can actually see some of the details on the card here. So I'll just run over it, run all the way down the surface, the length of it, across the bottom. You can see here at the bottom, I don't know if you can pick that up on there, there's a little bit of dust or something. That one's easy, just flick it off. Normally you do that with the cloth as well, but it's just good to check to see if it is just some dust or it's something else. Just up the top here, there's a bit of a smudge, fingerprint or something, so we'll get that off later when we actually use the cloth. Outside of that though, there's no real scratches or anything on the surface, which is great. That's a big key component of trying to get a PSA 10, making sure there's no scratches or anything on the front surface. Looking at the back now, just going around once again, using the light as a good source, just to see if there's any big dents or scratches. And looking at this one here, just under the 249 right there, that's actually a little surface dent. It's not big, but it will potentially impact the grade, so it has a chance at a 10, but only if they think everything else is good enough to warrant it. So that's something like that needs to be made note of for any future reference when you want to look back and say, hey, why did that get a 9, not a 10? You can see that too. I've just noticed too here that this top corner just there, this edge, sorry, isn't completely flat. It's just a slight ding in the corner. And what I also do then is I also will have a really good close look at the cards. So same again, you want some good light and have a good look at the corners, really to see what sort of condition they're in, because they are pretty key as well. So there's one corner, looking not too bad there. That corner's pretty good as well. Edges are pretty good. That corner's good too. You see a lot of this on Prism, this sort of fluff on the edges. And you can generally get that off just by giving a little light rub down the edge, and it won't damage the card at all, just sort of flatten things out and take off some of those loose edges. Same up here, there's a few on this edge. But other than that, that looks pretty good. And that corner's good too. And the front ones look pretty good before when we looked at it, so there's no issue there. And that corner looks pretty sharp as well. See there? I don't know if you can see it a bit better, there's that fingerprint there. So we'll just try and wipe that off. So the way I actually clean these is always start with the back first, just because at the end of the day when you finish it, you want to finish on the front, so as you take most of any dust and everything off the front last, because that's the key part that they'll look at. So typically what I'll do is I'll just wrap this around my finger. I'll make sure that the tip of it doesn't have any dust or anything on it, and then I'll just wipe from the middle out, and that way I'll remove any surface dust, any smudges. Now if I have a particular smudge that's a bit more tricky, what I might do is I'll grab glasses wipe, the makeup wipe. I'll put a little squirt of this substance on there, just to give it a little bit of moisture. I'll often just dab it on the side too to get any extra residue off, so you don't put too much liquid on there. And I'm just giving the surface a light wipe. And the whole point of this is just to get that grime off. Now the good thing about this sort of liquid is it actually does dry itself. But if you need to, and I often do it, is I'll just use a second clean one, and I'll just wipe too, just to get that residue off. Make sure it's clean, and also to remove some of the dirt that might have stayed on there, that might have been loosened by the liquid. Next thing, same again, wrap it over your finger. Make sure it's clean, there's no dust or anything on it. And then same again, just give it a bit of a wipe from inside to out. I find that means you get a better surface at the end because you just got a bit of a removal of dust. No issues sitting on there. So that's looking pretty clean. Just give it a once over under the light to make sure you haven't missed anything. And same again on the front. Just come over here and give it a bit of a wipe. Now what you'll find is when you do this, because you're looking at it from different angles, you'll often see other things you missed the first time. And I've just kind of noticed that there was a little bit of a imperfection, but it was mostly just a bit of a fingerprint sort of around his knee here, and I was able to wipe that off. Then I come over here to turn it around, same again, work from about 2/3 down all the way to the edge. Work across that top bit there, just where the fingerprint was, and wipe that off. And that's looking pretty good, so just give it a once over again. Just get it in the light, just check all those things. That fingerprint's gone, that was there, is now gone. It's dust free. Edges are looking good and corners are good. So from there I'll typically try and keep it face down just so as any dust or anything doesn't get into it while I'm about to sleeve it. Fresh sleeve, straight into the fresh sleeve, and into a top loader. And it's always a new top loader as well. And then straight into a team bag, that's ready to go. Alright, hopefully that's helpful. Any questions, by all means ask me and I'll let you know any other tips and tricks I might have. Cheers.